The form of the resolution is as follows.
Recognized.
Censuring Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota.
This is what MAGA has anointed. The likes of Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because for many, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar represents everything they hate. Non-white people who do not hold the same extremist beliefs as them.
Family values are being destroyed.
Is that so? Speaking of family values.
He's fantastic. This guy right here is great. Standing up in there in the mucky swamp. Diane always has him in the mucky swamp. Yeah.
That crowd obviously just despises Marjorie Taylor Greene caressing the private parts of a Donald Trump cutout, right? Or maybe this.
Well, a national divorce is not a civil war. It's actually separating by red states and blue states, and making state rights and state power a lot stronger than it is right now.
Pure, unadulterated idiocy. But on the topic of divorce,
Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband of 27 years, Perry Greene, filed for divorce. He called the marriage, quote, irretrievably broken.
Interesting. And why exactly?
Turning now to exclusive new details obtained by DailyMail.com, revealing allegations that controversial QAnon Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene openly cheated on her husband of 25 years with a polyamorous tantric sex guru, and then had another affair with the manager at her gym.
Daily Mail with the reporting here.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about. I
think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Of course, there was this tremendous exchange with Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Ms. Greene, for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's
It's me.
Ms. Crockett?
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Who showed members of her own party how to rebuke Greene's sentiments by matching the energy and not getting bullied.
Today I introduced a censure resolution against Ilhan Omar. And the reason why I did that, and I'll just say this, censure is not going far enough. If it were up to me, we would expel Ilhan Omar and deport her out of the United States. Her comments are outrageous. She's acting as a foreign agent within our very government. Ilhan Omar needs to be censured. But censure is not enough. I'm telling you right now, she's acting as a foreign agent on behalf of a foreign country.
Another interesting take from Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is proposing for the U.S. to withdraw from NATO. She believes that Americans should help Putin win.
That's amazing. That's Russian state television. In fact, ever since Marjorie Taylor Greene started speaking out against helping Ukraine, Russian state television can't get enough of her. Look at all that. And don't just, listen to us saying this. I mean, listen to what former Republican Congressman Ken Buck told me.
Moscow Marjorie is focused now on this Ukraine issue and getting her talking points from the Kremlin and making sure that she is popular and she is getting a lot of coverage.
Because it feels Greene's language on Congresswoman Omar and labeling her a foreign agent is simply a form of projection. Why is she so incredibly soft on Russia?
Marjorie Taylor Greene parroted Vladimir Putin's central lie, justifying his invasion of Ukraine by calling the Ukrainian government Nazis. One Russian policy expert cited in one of these documents specifically calls on Russia to continue to facilitate the coming to power of isolationist right-wing forces in America. Russia very much wants the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world to continue doing exactly what they're doing because it serves Russia's interests.
Not lie about. You don't get to ask any more questions. I'm done with you.
Because you're the cause. You're
One
the
more
cause
thing, you
of
call
our
the
country.
Democrats a
No.
party
You're
of
the cause of
pedophiles.
our
Do you have any
country being
response to
divided.
that?
You're the cause of our country being divided. You're the cause of President Trump almost being assassinated. You're the cause of everything wrong
where's
in
your
America.
evidence for those claims?
No, you're done. You're done.
Another insane talking point parroted by the right. Greene and her ilk fail to look in the mirror over and over again.
No, they're in business of helping the cartels. The cartels love the Democrats. Yeah, they're down there. They're like this. They're like, we're making a lot of money off of Biden, Joe Biden. That's my really bad Mexican accent.
Generations of Black and Hispanic men, do you want to know what holds them down? Gangs. Being in gangs and dealing drugs is what holds them down. The lack of education is what holds them down. The gangs are holding them back. It's not white people.
There is an Islamic invasion into our government offices right now. Joe Biden's 5 million illegal aliens are on the verge of replacing you, replacing your jobs, and replacing your kids in school. And coming from all over the world, they're also replacing your culture. And that's not great for America. You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Mr. Chairman, I have another point of order.
White supremacy shouldn't be the main target. We should be more concerned about the illegal invasion at the border, the crime happening every single day on our streets, and especially in cities like Chicago.
Look, it should come as zero surprise, zero, that those that are stoking the flame when it comes to language, when it comes to simply gaslighting the American people, when it comes to trying to cover up their crimes while having a position of leadership. I understand these people are elected. It also comes through gerrymandering and many other formulas in order to reach this status. What I will say is this: they know what they are doing, because they know what their messaging is. It is derived in hate. It is derived through what we have seen in Project 2025, Samuel Alito, the Supreme Court, the Heritage Foundation, and many others, that they want to carry out a predominantly white, Christian, fascist nation. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is just one of those vehicles. She is deeply unpopular in her ranks, within her party rather, which shows a lot because a lot of these folks are depraved. Ken Buck talking about it, like, cool, I appreciate the infighting. Not a good politician, not a good dude. Voted with Trump a very high percentage, which shows their loyalties and priorities. But when you see something like this in a Marjorie Taylor Greene, who her and Lauren Boebert have gone on the record saying that they believe if a woman were to leave her man or get divorced, there should be consequences, and yet they're doing the same exact thing in both of their respective marriages. It's hypocritical. Greene is one of the ultimate hypocrites when it comes to lawmakers and legislation. Every single opportunity she gets, she wants it to be an absolute clown show, because that is the only way she's talked about. She doesn't know a damn thing about policy. She's probably in the Tuberville camp of not knowing the three branches of government, but she sees this as reality TV. And quite frankly, it is us as well. I will take part of the blame, though it is mainly the humongous networks when it comes to mainstream media who love giving her airtime when they shouldn't. They shouldn't. We know what she is about. We know what her prerogative is. It is filled with hatred. Deep levels of hatred. And until Republicans get these folks out of their ranks, they're going to continue to be symbolism of what they represent. With the Olympics around the corner, I want to tell you of one athlete competing in Paris. This man's name is Steven van de Velde, and his presence with the Dutch volleyball team has brought many to scream of the double standards.
Now, a Dutch volleyball player who a 12-year-old British girl is set to represent the country at the Paris Olympics. Steven van der Velde was jailed in 2016, but despite the outcry, the Dutch Olympics Committee has defended his selection. How on earth should he be allowed to compete at the Olympics with a criminal record like that?
In the original court case, the judge declared that his Olympic ambitions were a shattered dream. Even his own defense lawyer said, the headlines say it all, sex monster.
The questions become rather simplistic. How? Why? In 2014, Van de Velde was sentenced to 4 years in prison for R-wording a 12-year-old after talking online frequently via Facebook, Snapchat, and Skype. He boarded a plane from Amsterdam to, per The Athletic, a small airport north of London. He was 19 at the time. It is accurate that Judge Francis Sheridan said to Van de Velde, prior to coming to the UK, you were training as a potential Olympian. Your hopes of representing your country now lie as a shattered dream. Additionally, his lawyer, Linda Strudwick, would say the final verdict, the headlines say it all, a sex monster. It's plainly a career end for him. Per the Telegraph, Van de Velde would be extradited, serve a measly 12 months, and be released. The Dutch Olympics Committee proclaimed he rehabilitated his image. Van de Velde and beach volleyball partner Matthew Immers are the 10th ranked team nationally per FIVB.com. The Athletic wrote and reported that when Van de Velde learned of the victim's age, he did not break off contact whatsoever and continued conversing. Before he returned to the Netherlands, Van de Velde advised his victim to get the morning after pill because they had not used contraception, wrote the outlet. Per Tom Burrows, Van de Velde would be resentenced to a shorter term because of a Dutch law. It led to his release in 2017. Upon that release, Van de Velde would say, I have been branded as a sex monster, as a P word. That I am not, really not. Yet in 2018, he uttered, I did what I did. I can't take it back. So I will have to carry the consequences. You can judge, of course. It is the biggest mistake of my life. Since then, he competed for the Netherlands in the year 2017 and married German volleyball player Kim Behrens in 2022. They have a 2-year-old boy together. Still, the inclusion of Van de Velde to the Olympics roster to represent a country, the Netherlands, has been met with swift condemnation, question marks, vitriol, and quite honestly, anger from many human rights organizations. Sierra Bergman, the CEO of Rape Crisis England and Wales, called it irresponsible and claimed it created an enormous sense of impunity. She'd add, if you can R-word a child and still compete in the Olympics despite all athletes signing a declaration promising to be a role model, that is just shocking. Furthermore, Andrea Simon, who serves as the executive director of the End Violence Against Women Coalition, spoke on the controversy. It sends a worrying message to men who commit R-word that there will unlikely be any consequences and therefore no deterrent. Van de Velde being included has rang the alarm for many. Not just in media, but also fans of the Olympics, because they see the bigger picture of how blatant a double standard this is.
Sha'Carri Richardson is now off the U.S. track and field team roster. The 21-year-old sprinter was suspended for a month after testing positive for marijuana.
Completely upended after testing positive for marijuana. The World Anti-Doping Agency sidelining Richardson for 30 days, voiding her trial times and making it so she could not compete in the Olympics.
Who could forget Sha'Carri Richardson?
She admitted to using marijuana after the death of her mother, which was just before the race.
To put on a face, I have to go in front of the world and put on a face and hide my pain. Who are you, or who am I to tell you how to cope?
She used marijuana to deal with the psychological pain, the numbing pain of losing a loved one, and she was banned from competing. in the Olympics. Meanwhile, the studies show, for example, from the Clinical Journal of Sports Medicine, that there is no evidence for cannabis use as a performance-enhancing drug. Then writing a second time, although cannabis use is more prevalent in some athletes engaged in high-risk sports, there is no direct evidence of performance-enhancing effects in athletes. Then there's the case of Caster Semenya. Semenya, 33, is a South African distance runner who has medaled and been a world champion. However, she has been gender tested numerous times, resulting in embarrassing displays by the IOC and various other organizations. The Post would write, she is considered different because it is believed she has an intersex condition that makes her body naturally produce a high level of testosterone. The fallout would be unjust. Via Dave Zirin, if Semenya wants to compete in the future, they have concluded she will have to artificially suppress these hormones in her body. This is sick and disturbed, the equivalent of making Joel Embiid play basketball on his knees because he is deemed too tall, or forcing Michael Phelps to wear weights on his feet to negate the advantage that their flipper-like shape provides him when he dives into the pool. She would be barred from competing in the Olympics because her body naturally produces too high of testosterone levels. So yeah, there is a double standard here. And if you don't think it exists, then I really don't know what to tell you. There's a really interesting beef taking place between hip-hop icon Eminem.
First thing I want to say is Eminem is obviously a gay man.
And conservative influencer Candace Owens. If unaware, Slim Shady released a new album titled The Death of Slim Shady. Rumor has it via the Detroit News. If the units keep selling at this rate, he could topple Taylor Swift for the top spot.
It's very sad that Eminem cleaned out his closet but never came out of his closet.
So Owens goes straight for the jugular, throwing shade at Shady. Why exactly? It likely has to do with a section of his song Lucifer. He likely saw this clip.
For Eminem, the once hardcore rapper, it seems that he is getting older and gayer.
Where Owens again calls him gay. And she did this because Vivek Ramaswamy, then a presidential candidate, rapped Lose Yourself. Eminem would send Ramaswamy a cease and desist letter objecting to the Libertarians' use of his track.
And one of those people that they're not going to listen to is you, Eminem, because you're just so irrelevant.
Let's just keep this in mind, because the fair question to ask is this. If he is so irrelevant, why spend a segment or an entire video on him? The lyrics, let's work our way backwards. He raps, laugh at her like them crackers she's backing after her back is turned in a cute MAGA hat with her brand new White Lives Matter shirt, if one is unaware.
Kanye West, he decided to showcase his new Yeezy line during the Paris Fashion Week. And of course, it had to be this. Yeah, White Lives Matter. That's great. He partnered up with conservative advocate Candace Owens.
It's a reference to this.
Now, during the showcase, some models walked the runway wearing White Lives Matter attire. And of course, Ye is no stranger to controversial attire. Everyone knows this infamous look, which is Kanye West donning the red Make America Great Again cap. And here's another photo from 2015. He's wearing a Confederate flag on his bomber jackets.
This is where we shout out the great Yasin Bey, a man who has worked with Kanye on previous projects, when he put out a rebuttal shirt that you see on your screens. Eminem's next line of disses goes as follows: call her Grand Wizard, Clandis, or Grand Dragon, or like the national anthem, I won't stand for the tramp. Let's break this down.
I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German.
She would go on to praise the Big H. Eminem likely paid attention to Owens' previous work. As Christine Rosen notes, early on, Candace gained a ton of fans. as a YouTuber under the name of Red Pill Black, posting provocative videos with titles such as I Don't Care About Charlottesville, The Triple K, or White Supremacy. From Michael Harriot, Owens doesn't believe in systemic racism because she's never been a slave in this country, her words. When it comes to anti-blackness, she is as remarkably consistent as the angry throngs that spat on third graders desegregating schools while painting the civil rights movement as, quote, violent. She would go on to defend Kanye when he vowed to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, writing, if you are an honest person, you did not find this tweet anti-Semitic. It's outrageous, but that's her bread and butter. Shock value. In addition, she embraced Donald Trump's lawlessness while castigating Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and black victims of police brutality as, quote, thugs and criminals. For Owens, the January 6th insurrection was, quote, virtually nothing, while the Black Lives Matter movement, quote, is about black anarchy. She told a congressional subcommittee that white supremacy and white nationalism is not a problem that is harming black America, close quote. Furthermore, Owens appeared on The Breakfast Club and said that secret Jewish gangs terrorize Hollywood, favorited a tweet about Jews imbibing Christian blood, and posted, you can't serve both God and money. Thus, does one understand Shady's dig at Owens with the Triple K stuff? Probably. Where some have a problem, however, is this line from Marshall Mathers. And Candace O, I ain't mad at her. I ain't gonna throw the fact B-word forgot she was black back at her.
I don't feel comfortable when a white man is going around calling this black woman the B-word.
On his new album, rapper Eminem says that Candace Owens forgot that she was black. Now, I'm not saying that he's wrong. I just don't like that he's the messenger.
I also don't like when this white man, Eminem, is going around calling basically this black woman an Uncle Tom, saying she ain't black enough. I'm going to remind you black because you're not performing blackness properly. Now, let me be clear. We might say that. We might say that on our group chat. I might argue with Candace and debate Candace publicly and say, look, this is anti-black.
You know, you give white guys an inch and they just take 8 miles.
Mark Lamont Hill would have more on the dig that didn't need to be.
Eminem is a visitor to our culture. He made his money and his career off of black people, black cultural production, black lives, black music, black traditions, black culture, but he thinks that Candace is an eligible black person because she's not black enough or because she doesn't do enough for black people. I have a criticism of Candace Owens and her relationship to the black community. I have a criticism of how Candace Owens moves through the world as a black person. Not that she's not black enough, I just don't share her political vision. But you, white man, should not be walking into our culture. I don't care if you've been here for 20 years now, you have been. Longer than that, 25 years. I don't care. You don't have a right to come in and call this black woman out her name. And you don't have a right to tell black people that they ain't black enough. How dare you?
Via Vibe, Owens would say it was strategic on M's part, saying in the video, I'm doing this because I want to help him go viral because this is sad. I want you to feel sad for Eminem because this is just not the way for someone's career to go down the drain. And I want us all to do our part to help make Eminem relevant again. At the very least, he can be relevant just by me speaking about him. And he understands that. She'd go on to say, I was honored when Dave Chappelle made fun of me because Chappelle is in his prime. Grandpa Shady is just depressing to me. Eminem should retire or evolve. Calling out elite people in comedy should be the rule of thumb.
I think Donald Trump's hair is actually another creature.
Yeah.
The hair's like going, good night, Donald. Good night, Donald. There we go.
Maybe it goes out. It goes out and makes money while he's asleep.
Yeah. There is something about punching down that feels taboo, and punching up is the way to go.
Crack's not really my thing, but if it was, it would be fine if I was on that side.
Wow.
Don Jr.'s on coke.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. I'm a very stable genius.
It is very important, the work that the Jordan Kleppers are doing, the work that the Good Liars are doing, the work that our team here at the Turks are doing, and many more.
What he does, he secretly puts the marker on the end of the putter, and then he looks like he's marking it, but really, now the mark is 3 feet closer. That's a way easier putt.